Just breathe upon me, Jesus, breathe. May the Lord breathe upon our broadcast today on the Queen Amina Show. Welcome, everyone. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day out there. Today is going to be our third session with Dr. Princess Mokolo on the Entrepreneurship Bootcamp. I hope you guys have watched the previous two sessions broadcast on our page. If not, please either go to YouTube or Lucima Charities page or the Queen Amina page, Queen Amina Show page, and watch the broadcast. So that way you'll be able to catch up with today's broadcast and learn something and move yourself forward. Please help us share this broadcast so it's going to bless another person and another person and another person, because that's the culture of why we're here and what we do on this broadcast is to bless people. I have a very fantastic testimony that I will share at the end of this broadcast from a broadcast like this that someone sent to me. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere while I bring up our guest today. She's not a guest anymore. She's welcome. Do I need to introduce you?
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back again today. It's a beautiful week.
Thank you so much for your time, your precious time away from everything that you're doing and, joining us to train, help, and move one life forward. Thank you so much. Today is our third day. Yeah, you're welcome. Today is our third day, and we look forward to sitting with you for the next 1 hour.
Okay, so we're back again. We're exploring the entrepreneurial lifestyle. It's been a series. It's a 4-part series. We've done sessions 1, 2, and this is session 3. In session 3, we talked about the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. We talked about, what it takes to be successful on this journey. In session 2, we looked at evaluating your personal and your personal lifestyle goals. And in today's session, we're going to be looking at evaluating and identifying your professional and financial goals. As I begin, I'd like to acknowledge and give credit to the Kaufman Foundation for a lot of the research that is used in this presentation. I also want to acknowledge SCORE Houston. I've been a consultant with SCORE Houston mentor since 2012. And that has given me a lot of experience mentoring small business owners in the Houston area. SCORE Houston is a resource partner with the Small Business Administration of the United States, the SBA. So in addition to that, I'm a certified entrepreneurship coach and training facilitator for the Kaufman Foundation. So I encourage anyone in the US, if you need additional help with preparing your business plan, go to the SBA websites, go to SCORE Houston or SCORE in any location. You will get free counseling, free mentoring as far as your small business needs are concerned. So
you spell the foundation out so we can type it.
SCORE Houston or SCORE, SCORE, or just go to the Small Business Administration, SBA. SCORE is a resource partner with the SBA, and we provide free consulting, free mentoring. If you would like to pay for your services, then head on to DRPRUMOK.com, and that's my consultancy service.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay. So in our first session, like I said, we talked about the common characteristics. We talked about desire and passion, your ability to thrive on uncertainty. We talked about determination and resiliency, accountability, self-confidence, making sure you're ready to roar from the beginning of the day, having a strong problem-solving skill set, your ability to strategically cultivate and leverage networks. And leverage networks. We talked about your value for the bottom line. We talked about your demonstrating strong marketing awareness and appreciation of business knowledge, being able to assess what you know, what you need to know, and filling the gaps with either experts, outsourcing, consultants, coaches, mentors. Last week, we looked at, as I mentioned earlier, your personal and your lifestyle goals. And we looked at, flexibility, location, your preference for location. We looked at your, travel aversion or your interest in travel being a factor that you need to consider. We looked at physical requirements, your health and your wellness and how it fits into the business you're trying to do. We talked a lot about family involvement. We talked about a lot about the difficult conversations that you need to have with your family, and especially the financial and risk elements of that conversation, and the sacrifices you expect in your spouse and your family members, your children, to make. We talked about making sure that you have an exit plan and how it fits into the business. So we're going to jump right into today, where we're talking about your professional goals. It's important, that you have a very, excuse me, make sure you have an objective assessment. You've done your personal goals, your lifestyle goals. Now have a very objective assessment of your professional needs, your professional goals, your financial goals as you get into this entrepreneurship journey. At this time, I'd like to invite us again, as we have done in the first and second sessions. I'd like to invite everyone to please grab your notepad, grab your jotter, grab some writing material. I'm not just here to, talk. I'm here to have a conversation. I'm here to facilitate, excuse me. I'm here to facilitate some deep thinking. I'm just a guide. The ultimate outcome of these sessions is where you have written down your thoughts, where you have had an opportunity through my guidance to reflect and make a note of where you're going as far as these important components of your journey into entrepreneurship. So please grab your jotters, grab your notepads, and I'll give you a second to do that. So as you get your notepads and your jotter, I want you to understand that identifying your professional, your financial needs, and making a note of these are very, important keys to establishing a vision for yourself and for your business. Where do you see your business going, in a year, in 6 months, in 3 months, in 5 years, and 10 years? It all starts with the journey that we're making today. It starts with what we did in sessions 1 and 2. So even though your personal vision, incorporates your family, your friends, your professional goals are going to focus on what you want to get out of entrepreneurship. So today's conversation is, what are you trying to get out of it? What are you trying to put into it? For how long? Who are you bringing on board with you? So some of us might think that owning, our business is, a big enough professional goal. Hey, I'm trying to start a business. That's a professional goal. Well, that's right. But permit me to invite you, to come with me and let's dig deeper. What are your professional needs? What are your preferences? What are the non-negotiables? Then we will go through the list of considerations that you must consider, the list of things you must bear in mind as you go on this journey. Again, as we did in sessions 1 and 2, I'm going to stop, every now and then and ask you some critical questions and give you a second to make a note. At the end of the program, you can go and kind of flesh it out, elaborate, but you get to at least put down something as we go along today's session. So the first thing we're going to talk about is social interaction and involvement. And I pose it as a question: what is your personal preference? This is now your professional and your financial considerations as you enter your business, the things you must think about ahead of time. So what is your preference? Would you rather work alone? Are you the kind of person that likes to work alone? Or are you the kind of person that doesn't have a problem with working in a team? It's important for you to, reflect and identify your preference and how it relates to the kind of business that you're trying to start. Also, what is the level of involvement that you're thinking about with this business? Whatever business it is you're trying to start, there's a different mix of how much you want to get involved, whether you want to be hands-on running the business, getting involved in every detail of the day-to-day running, or whether you want to hire someone, or whether you want to partner, collaborate one way or the other, outsource. It's important before you start the journey to take a minute and, think in advance, think ahead of time about what that looks like as far as in relation to the business you're trying to start. What is your preference? You prefer to work alone? You prefer to work with a team? You prefer to, work with others in the same setting or remotely? You want to telecommute? What is your tolerance for social interactions? How frequently do you want to have people in your space? And, just similarly, how much do you want to get involved in your business? So it's time to pause and make a note and respond to this. So would I like to have frequent contact with my colleagues and my peers in this new business that I'm trying to do? And if so, how often would I like such contact? Some people just, are not very productive when they work with a team. Some people are not very tolerant of others. Some people, by nature of the kind of business they're trying to go into, are able to, just work alone, work from home. Just make a note so that helps you from the get-go to structure your strategies for your business. The next question that I want us to, consider and make a note about is, like I mentioned earlier, how much personal involvement would you like to have in the day-to-day running of your business? If you think ahead, then you're going to be, writing that into your budget. As far as if you're not trying to get personally involved to a large extent, then you have to find someone who's going to take care of the day-to-day running, and that has to be built into your cash flow and your startup expenses. Also, would I like the help of a partner? Would I like to have a co-founder, a co-owner? Would I like a team that will help me with the day-to-day running of the business, the day-to-day operations? Or am I the kind of person that I'm just happier depending on myself to run my business? I really don't like to get into people, into personal issues. I don't like to get into conflict resolution that comes with, having a co-founder, having a partner. Take a moment and make a note, because this determines, a lot about the structure of your business. Okay. Now, another important consideration when you talk about professional and financial goals and, important factors is expertise, skills, and preferences. You need to do an inventory. So as you start this business, as you think about this business, as you reflect on the different, components of your business plan, as you put together the the personal vision statement that we're going to be doing next session, I need for you to do what we call a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. Typically, we do this for a business, but I want you to start at this stage and do a personal SWOT, do a professional SWOT on yourself. If nothing else, identify your strengths and your weaknesses. At the very least, make a list of your strengths and your weaknesses. This will help you to know where you need to build, where you need to develop additional competencies, additional capacity. And it will also help you identify what aspects of your business operation will require outside help. It's common for people to pay others to outsource to experts, services in areas where you have identified that you're weak. If you're weak in technology, you probably need someone to take care of your website, design, even website updates. Payroll is something that a lot of people outsource. Social media marketing, lead generation, bookkeeping are some examples of some things that you could determine that you're going to need outside help for. But if you wait until you start your business before you identify this, you might be a minute late and $1 short. So think ahead of time. And to help you with that process, I want you in your notepads and your jotters to make a note about your response to these questions. What skill would I need an expert or professional to contribute to this my new business? Whether on a part-time basis, whether completely outsourced, whether it's something that somebody needs to come in once a month to take care of your bookkeeping, take care of, balancing your, your bank reconciliation, whatever. So what are those things that you need an expert or professional to contribute to your business? Just make a note. You may not have all the answers, but make a note so that it becomes a start of that conversation for you. Next question. What critical professional weaknesses, both professional and other areas, do I lack expertise? I encourage you to do a full SWOT, to do a critical strengths and weaknesses analysis. But until you do that, even in the moment, just think for a second. What you probably already know some of your professional weaknesses. You probably already know that, oh, you're not good at this, you're not good at that. So quickly make a list of some of them. And also identify where you need to build, capacity. Where should you focus your efforts in improving yourself? If you're experiencing a lockdown right now or a slow time in your business because of a pandemic, it's a great opportunity for you to build your capacity, for you to build your skills, to develop yourself in the areas that you identify that you might have some, weakness, and which are very critical to your business. So take a moment and make a note of those. Just make a summary note, and you can go back later and flesh it. Just put a reminder for yourself on some of the thoughts that are coming to you about your strengths, your weaknesses, about the skills that you need in your business, you need professionals for. So the next thing we want to talk about is job security. And remember, our conversation today is about your professional and your financial needs and goals and things that you need to evaluate and assess before you start your business. Okay. So what about job security? You need to think about, job security in the sense of, a lot of people think that, the fact that you work for yourself is a guarantee of job security and, of income. Far from it. If you're one of those who are thinking, oh, once I work for myself, I'm secured. No, you need to think again. Your job security is something you need to consider, because there's no guarantee that you will have more, job security than if you were in an employment situation working for someone else. The fact that you own your business is not a guarantee. The only difference is, or rather the key difference is in the fact that when you own your business, it puts you directly in the driver's seat. You are the CRO, what I call your CRO, yes, Chief Responsibility Officer. You are the Chief Responsibility Officer for your job security and for your income and the potentials of your business bringing in some revenue. So it's critical that you think about, your job security and, the needs that you have. What is it going to take? If you quit your job, how much are you looking at in terms of income that will help you meet your business and meet your personal responsibilities, your family responsibilities? What is it? What is that number? What is that list? What are those things that must be taken care of? And think ahead. The kind of business you're thinking to do, is it the kind of business that is going to be able to meet those needs? Visualize yourself 5 to 10 years from now. It's so important that as you begin to think about this business, as you advance your thoughts and your plans, it's so important that you're not thinking about the now, that you're not just thinking about the moments. Because, as we all know, things are very transient in the business world. Indeed, in our global world, things change, almost on a second to second basis. But very important, this business I'm trying to do today, what does the future outlook What is the future outlook? What does it look like? And what is my own view of my future in this business? Taking a moment to do that today, taking a moment to do that before you finalize plans will help you avoid costly detours. It'll help you avoid, you go this way for 1 week and all of a sudden, oh no, you need to, make a turn to the left, and all of a sudden, oh no, and before you know it, you've gone from, vegetables to selling cars, So instead of you expending energy and money in all that experimenting, you might want to take a moment and step away from, your overly objective view and your excitement, and do some deep reflection. So it's instructive to spend time now to reflect on what you hope to achieve in your future, because over time, you're going to now craft a mission and a vision statement for your business. And these are going to be components of that. Now, think about the professionals. Think about when you were working. Here in the US, we talk about a 401k. In some other countries, they talk about retirement benefits, gratuity, investment, whatever you call it. So just in the same way as a person who is working a 9-to-5 job is planning for the future, as a smart entrepreneur, you must also start with the end in mind. Indeed, I say with the end in sight. So start with what's going to happen when, 10 years, 20 years, when I retire, as far as this business, how is the business going to serve me? And ultimately, what am I trying to get out of this business? What is my exit strategy? So we're talking about your future professional goals. What is your exit strategy? Are you trying to grow a business that you're going to resell, or are you trying to grow a business that is going to be your legacy and you're going to leave to your children? So think about that in advance. What are your future goals? So at this time, let's pause again. And let's ask ourselves, how much job security do I need? How much job security does my family need in order to be comfortable? We may not aim to be as comfortable as we are right now, in the transition, but ultimately, if this business, is gonna serve my family's best interest, where should it take us in terms of our financial needs? So make a note of that. Also, make a note of your response to this. What do I envision myself doing in the future? What do I envision myself doing professionally in the future? Do I see myself in this same business? Or is this business a stepping stone to something different, to something greater? Some people might sell poultry products. Some people might, decide to sell, hens and eggs. And it's just their starting point or their segue to owning a poultry farm, just as an example. Some people might market, a brand or market a product, and it's a segue to them manufacturing that product. So what is this business for you as you look at the future? Does it fit into what you're going to do in the future? Make a note, because the extent to which you make a note of it, to which you identify, to which you come to terms with it, is the extent to which you can build it into your strategies. So next, we're going to talk about the difference between a growth business and a lifestyle business. So as you put together your thoughts and your analysis of your professional goals, of your financial goals for this business, of your needs for this business, ask yourself, is this business going to be focused on fast growth? Is that my ultimate goal? I just want to get in, grow it as fast as possible. Is growth going to be the main goal of the business? That means you're just blindly pursuing, taking this business, capturing market share, pushing out, large, high volume turnover, high volume sales, positioning yourself. And that's the primary focus. If that's your focus, you have to understand from the beginning that such a goal, if your goal is fast growth, that it may not, always meet your personal goals. Remember last week we talked about your personal goals, your family responsibility, your preferences, your lifestyle goals. If you're setting up this business as a fast growth business, you're going to have to bend some of those personal goals that you already, identified. On the other hand, if you're setting up this business as a lifestyle business, some of us, we've retired multiple times. Some of us have been through different transitions of our careers. And we're at the point where we're choosing to do a lifestyle business. It's a business that fits into, our lifestyle goals. The key goal of such a business is to meet the founder's personal objective. Even if your choice, your strategies and all that affects the business growth, even if it doesn't grow so fast, you only want to work certain days, in the week, or you only want to, see certain number of clients, or you're not going to travel out for opportunities, even if people call you, you're not going to serve this demographic, you're not going to, you just tailor the business to your lifestyle goal. It's important when you're looking at your professional and financial goals for your business to make a determination of where you're going with this business. Is it lifestyle, or is it a growth goal that you have for the business? It's also important to think about your future personal income needs. We touched on that earlier, but let's talk a little bit more. Because you have to realize that your financial goals and your obligations depend on your future income from the business. So it's important for you to note that many businesses may not be able to pay the founder for a long time. It might take a while at the beginning. A lot of entrepreneurs do not take a salary initially. There's a hope that, when the business grows, when the business starts to break even, when it starts to make profits, you will be able to, compensate yourself maybe at a higher level or whatever. But I want you to be realistic about your expectations for income from this business, and to understand that at the beginning, you may have no or very low income as the founder. So you have to make this determination upfront, and you have to ask yourself, how long can I afford? How long can my family survive? How long can I survive without income from this business that I'm putting so much into? You must figure out how you will meet your personal financial obligations until such a time when the business can support you financially. Remember that all we've done for the last 3 sessions, all we've been doing is just FYI, for your information. This is what you need to think about. For your information, these are some strategies you need to have in place. Everything we're doing is building that foundation so that you don't jump into this business before you start doing the thinking, so that you don't jump into the business and you're detouring every day. Every time you have a thought process, every time you do the critical thinking that you didn't do before you started, you have to make another turn. You have to change strategy. So we want you to take the time that you have today and do a plan, a solid plan. And that's all this conversation has been about. Reflect, and then, strategize, and then make a note, because you're going to put it all together, starting from a personal vision statement all the way to a full-blown business plan. So now, critical question. As far as your future personal income and, all of that, your jotters, your notepads, how long do I plan to operate this business? What is my strongest motivation for starting this business? Is it because I want to build a business, make it profitable, and then sell? That's a very valid model. Or is it because I want to build a long-term legacy for my future generation? Be sure of what you're looking at before you even get started, because that's how your strategies will tie into what this vision is. Another critical question. Will I take time today? And this is a commitment I'm asking you to make. Will I take time today to outline my financial needs and what I'm willing to invest, what I'm willing to put into this business to get started? Will I set a number, a cut-bait number, beyond which I'm not willing to take from, my family's investments, or, expose them to risk in order to start this business? Have you thought about what are your needs? What are your basic needs? What are the bills that must be paid? And have you thought about, until the business starts making profits, where am I going to get this money from? I urge you, indeed, I beg you, to take time and make a list. Put that list together of your financial responsibilities, your financial needs, and everything that it will take for you to feel like, oh, you've taken care of that business, so you can have patience for your business to grow. The next critical question: will this business be able to provide for my financial needs? When will it reasonably be able to do that? Try to get an estimate in your head. How long is it going to take? And if it has to be now, ask yourself realistically, is it likely that this business can take care of my needs now, in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, in the next 5 years? What is it going to take? And then in the long term. And as you ask yourself that, the ultimate question is, how long are you willing to go without returns? How long are you willing to be patient, to wait for the income to come, for the returns to come, for the business to become profitable? Give this some thought before you start the business, because a lot of people start the business without thinking about these things. And then they get frustrated when 6 months down the road, they've not broken even. 1 year down the road, the billions they were expecting are not coming in. We're not expecting you to do the critical analysis while we're having the session, but I want you to make a note so you can go back later and flesh it out. Okay. Giving you a minute. Again, how long do you plan to operate? What's your motivation to starting the business? Are you trying to build a legacy? Are you trying to build it, make it profitable so you can sell it? Can you outline your financial needs? Can you determine how much you're willing to invest in this business? And what's the maximum, what's a cutoff beyond which you're not going to put any more money? Make a note about your assessment about whether what you're trying to do will be able to provide for your financial needs, whether now, short-term, long-term. Make a note of how long you're willing to go without income. This is so important that I'm going to really give us a few minutes. I'll give us a minute or so to at least, make outlines and put, reminders on there, on our jotters and our notepads.
While we're doing that, please, guys, share the broadcast. I see some new faces today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please share the broadcast on your platform to help others take advantage of these wonderful tips and nuggets of how to become a successful entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Dr. Princess Mokolo.
Thank you, Queen Amina. So what about investment considerations? As we all know, starting a new business often requires investing some personal funds. It's a mix, your personal funds, loans, just, the wife's piggy bank, the children's savings in some cases, the family car, your garage, everything just comes into getting that business off to a good start. Well, a lot of times, you're depending on, a lot of times it depends on how buoyant you are or how limited your resources are. You might need to make some adjustments. So you need to think ahead of time about, investments. How much are you trying to invest? We talked about that earlier, but let's go a little bit deeper. Think about what are the needs of this business, and where are you going to meet those needs from? And then make the necessary adjustment depending on how much you have access to. Now, it's very rare that your business will grow beyond the capital, that you invest in it. So you have to give very good thought, because you don't want to start and say, oh, I have a car. Oh yeah, I'm going to use my car. And that's the only car that the family has. And then the day you need to go make a delivery or something, your wife has to take the kid to the hospital, or your son has to go out of. So as you're itemizing and identifying what family assets and what personal assets you're going to provide for the business, make sure that you do it, critically and strategically, because it's what you put into the business that is going to generate that revenue you're looking for. If you put a vehicle that breaks down every day and you have to spend a lot of money fixing it, well, that's going to, affect the quality and success of your business. So now, usually you have two broad categories or two broad opportunities for, startup investments in your business, usually. And so, because we're talking again about professional and financial goals this week, it's important for you to give thoughts to that. So you want to look at, are you going to be using debt? And when we talk about debt financing, debt investment, we're talking about money that you borrow that you have to repay based on the terms of whatever the loan or whoever the financier is. So debt financing for your business is money that you're going to have to pay back depending on the terms. Then you also have equity financing, equity investment, which is money, that you receive, and money that, is tied to some element of ownership in your business. Any equity financiers, anybody who is not a debt, financier, will own a stake in your business in exchange for whatever money that they give to you. So you have debt, you have equity. Now, bear in mind that lenders, you have debt, you have equity. So, and then, you usually have a mix of both. You're going to have maybe some debt, some equity, or all equity, or, it all depends. And it's not financial education 101. So just to say that that's a consideration you have to think about early on. But, also very important to say that as you're starting your business, as you're building this foundation, you need to understand that money that you borrow is not your own, and that the lenders expect to be repaid, and that the payment they're expecting is with interest. So whatever that loan document says is what, you're obligated to. And if it's a friendly handshake and your friend says, oh, I'm going to put 10,000 in your business, you better make sure that you have defined exactly what that 10,000 contributing to your business means. Is it 10,000 loan, debt financing, 10,000 equity financing? What are the expectations? Make sure everything is written down. Make sure that everything is contractual. Okay. Also, remember that when you borrow, if you don't pay, you stand the risk of losing your business. You stand the risk of losing whatever the structure of that financing, whatever it was that you pledged as collateral. And if it's a business or, some major assets, the lender could take a lien on that. That means, they seize whatever it is that you pledged for in exchange for the loan that they gave you, or whatever the terms are. I'm just saying that as you start, as the money comes in, somebody you raise funds, you do a private placement, whatever way you bring the money in, and all of a sudden you have, zillions of whatever currency. It's not your money. It's not your money to do what you want to do with it. It's for whatever the purpose that the lender gave that money for. And even so much more important, as you think about the financial goals, your financial considerations in starting your business, remember that he who pays the piper takes the tone. So you're going to have different kinds of lenders. You're going to have lenders that have different levels of engagement with your business. Some of them will want to dictate. Some of them will want to control many aspects of your business. It all depends on whatever agreement you have at the beginning. But my point is, you have to think about that. You have to think about it in advance so that you can, decide what structure you want, how you want to get your funds based on your tolerance for the extent of control, extent of interference, your tolerance for, somebody's going to have a lane, or you pledged your house as collateral to borrow money to start your loan. If things don't go well, know that you're going to lose your house. So I just want you to think about those things and have them, make some notes. So another thing that happens when we are talking about investments, for our business is the need for us to consider how much shares, how much of, a piece of our business we want to have, how much you want to hold on to. So if you're thinking about, we talked about your tolerance for, working with a co-founder, a team, collaborating, whatever, all of that, as you think about them, also think about how much ownership stake would you like to maintain in your business. So depending on what kind of business, all of us, have a choice to use other people's money. Some people call it OPM, other people's money, or use all of your money, or use a combination. But when you use other people's money, the extent to which you use other people's money determines the extent to which your percentage ownership of your business is diluted. It's difficult for you to maintain majority ownership of your business to the extent that you're using other people's money. So it's something you have to think about. So don't just think about, my uncle is going to give me money, or this, and then you're not thinking about the fact that you're going to, have to cede some of your ownership and some of your shares. So just similarly, venture capitalists would often demand a large share of any company that they invest in. And there's an expectation, you have to consult them. There's a built-in expectation of their being engaged in some aspect of that business. If a venture capitalist gives you, so much money to go get started, to go do, your prototype, to go, bring in the equipment, install the equipment, get raw materials, whatever it is, there is, either it's clearly defined contract that says they're going to be engaged, or it might not be so clearly defined, but they're expecting that you're going to consult them on major decisions. It's important that you should be fully aware of this, and it's important that you reflect on what this means for you and your business before you even open shop. You have to evaluate your proposed strategy. You have to reflect on your attitude towards debt. You have to look at opportunities for you to secure capital to grow your business. You have to look at opportunities for micro loans, other kinds of loans. If you're in North America, there are different programs available for women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. There are different opportunities depending on your demographics and how you fit in. So you need to reflect on all of that as you're looking at investments, for your business. It's also good for you to, at this time, go and educate yourself on what intelligent debt can do for your business. There's some business people I know, and they're like, oh, no, I don't want to borrow any money. I'm going to go take my savings, all of my phone. Educate yourself about intelligent debt and what it can do for your business. This is the time to do that. Don't wait until after you start your business. You have money. I'm going to use my savings. You don't know how much you need. You don't know how much you have. You don't know what your financial needs are. And suddenly you've rented the place, you've done the build out, and you run out of money. Then you start thinking, oh my gosh, who am I going to borrow from? And what are my opportunities for borrowing? No, we're saying, think about that ahead of time and lay the foundation and put together a plan. So now, our next set of critical questions. Grab those jotters, grab those notepads. So, what are my options? What options am I considering for funding my business, for investing in this business? What options do I have? What options am I looking at? What options am I hoping for? And I dare say, be realistic with yourself. Which of these are realistic? Which of these are most probable? Don't build your castles in the air. So make a note. Take a few seconds. Make a note. Where's the money going to come from realistically? And if you have a list of 3, 4 places that money is coming from, which ones are the most probable? And after the session, go and, evaluate and assess and, critically, cross the T's, dot the I's, and see which ones still need some work. Second critical question. Do I have a need? Do I have a compelling need? Do I have a strong desire to maintain the majority ownership of my business? Am I the kind of person that has a personal attachment to the ownership of my business? I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't want anyone controlling my business. I just want to make my decisions. I don't want to share any part of my revenue and my profits with anybody. If you have a compelling reason to have that mindset, then make sure that you build that into how you want to secure funds for your business. So make a note that says, yes, I have a compelling need. Yes, I have a desire to be majority ownership, or no, I don't mind. I don't mind, inviting partners, investors, and all that. We're going to close in, less than 3 minutes. So make your notes. Third critical question. Is my desired percentage ownership in my business, is it in consonance? Is it commensurate with the amount of funding that I need to effectively invest in this startup? So if you're thinking, oh, I want to hold on to at least 80%, I'm not, willing to part with more than 10%, more than 20% of my business, that's okay. Oh, I want to have at least 50% of my business, that's okay. I want to have 100%. That's first, the answer to the first question about your options for funding. How does it match with this level of ownership that you're interested in? Does it make sense? You want 80%, the money you have versus what you need is not looking like 80%. Make a note so that if there's a difference, you build that into your strategy for raising funds. I'm giving you a minute to make a note about where's the money going to come from. Of the things you identify as your source, which ones are most probable? What's your attitude towards partnership, towards co-ownership, towards, venture capitalists, towards anybody having an interest in your business? What's your tolerance for diluting your ownership? Make a note. I promised you that we were a few minutes away from the end, a few seconds indeed. And yes, indeed, we've come to the end. So we talked about professional and financial goals, professional and financial needs and preferences. We've talked about your, must-haves. We've talked about your non-negotiables. We've talked about what kind of a person are you, your social interaction tolerance. We've talked about your, level of interest in getting personally involved in your business, your involvement in the daily operations of your business. Are you hands-on? Are you hands-off? We've said, think very well and make a note about the skills that you have, the expertise, the ones that you don't have. Think about where do you start from? How can you mitigate those? Who do you need on your team? Who do you need to outsource to? We talked about realistically analyzing your job security needs. Is your spouse working while you're transitioning from your paid job to, is your spouse's income going to be enough to take care of the needs of the business? We talked about your future professional goals. Is this business a means to an end? Is this business going to serve you in 5 years? Are you just using it as, transition? I'm, going to start this, and from here, this is where I'm ultimately going to. Am I going to do this business so I can sell it? Am I going to do this business so that my great-grandchildren will be able to have a DRPRUMOK, incorporation in their stars? We talked about future personal income and the need for you to identify right now and be truthful to yourself that in the first season of your business, in the first few months, maybe years, you may not be able to draw a salary, draw income, get income from that business until the business stabilizes and turns profitable. We talked about investments. We talked about debt versus equity. We talked about the role of angel investors and anybody who puts money into your business, and your understanding realistically that if they put money in your business, other people's money means other people's getting involved in your business. Okay. Then we talked about, your need to be realistic about majority shares, wanting to hold on to majority ownership of your business versus how much is available for you to put into that business and how much you need other people. The more you need other people, the less ownership percentage you're going to have of your business. So that's what we've discussed today. And next week, we're going to put it all together. We talked about lifestyle goals. We talked about, personal non-negotiables, in session 2, session 1, characteristics. We talked about professional, financial, but we're going to put it all together and we're going to create a personal vision statement. And it's going to be a synthesis of how all of these fit into this business that you're trying to do. We're going to analyze how does this business choice, how does it resonate with the things you've written today, the things you wrote yesterday, and then we're going to look into it and see whether it's time for you to change course. Maybe after session 1, 2, 3, you've looked at this business and you've determined that it's not working in line with your professional goals, it's not working in line with your financial goals, it's not working out with your personal goals. Maybe there's a need to make a detour now that you have not even opened shop, you have not even paid any rent, you've not bought any goods. Or whether, yes, you have confidence to move ahead, to move forward. Then you move into your business planning. So that's all I have for us today.
Well, thank you so much. Before we let you go, we have a question here. Is it good for, what is a Facebook user, by the way? I don't know.
Somebody who uses Facebook.
Yeah, but shouldn't they have a name?
They didn't identify themselves, yeah.
Okay. So I didn't know that exists. I'm still learning all this media stuff. Well, the question is it a good idea to rent a place to start a mini business that you can do in the comfort of your home when you start to make more sales?
I'll give you my personal opinion, and this is what I tell my clients also. So to the extent that you don't have any deed restrictions, you don't have any restrictions in your neighborhood, and you're not putting up a sign, the kind of business you're doing is not a business that is bringing traffic, you're not violating any, of the codes of the neighborhood where you live. As long as you can, you want to save on that extra cost. So your question suggests that you are making more sales. So the location where you're doing the business from is not impacting your sales. I also want to qualify that. So depending on the kind of business you're doing. So if it's a business that you need to have a storefront where you need, to capture, customers that are, going, that are commuters. If that's the kind of business that has requires high traffic, commuters and all that, if moving to a storefront is going to increase your sales and visibility and everything, well, consider it carefully. Because if you can do a business and do it well at home, my counsel to my clients is there's no need to add on the extra overhead. And there are lots of businesses that you can do and do well. Now, the beautiful thing is there's a whole lot of innovations. You have offices, you have shared working spaces, you have co-working spaces that you can pay for by the day. So if you have a meeting with the president of whichever country and whatever organization you have a meeting, you just use a facility. You rent a conference room for $20. You rent an office for $20 an hour. You have your meeting in the 20, skyscraping building or whatever, skyscraper with a view of the ocean. Have your meetings where, it gives your business the clout and the image and impression that you need to have. Pay that co-working space a token monthly, a token yearly. Your mails can go there. They can even answer the phones for you and all that. But depending on the kind of business that you're doing, if it's a business that you can save on overhead, that you absolutely do not need a storefront, you absolutely do not need to be in a place where people walk in and out every day, then stay, in a conservative place where you can save money.
Awesome.
That's my counsel. And then when you do get to the point where maybe it's a distraction and maybe some other reasons, maybe family consideration, there's, conflicts of interest, the kids, the noise, the business has outgrown that space, you will know when it's time. But don't make it your first consideration until you get to the point where it really does not make sense anymore to work from, home. I hope that helps someone.
Thank you so much, Facebook user. I don't know why I can't see your name, but I hope that answers your question there. There's we no time to take the other questions, but I could send it to Dr. Mokolo, and she would respond via WhatsApp, and I can either post it to you or send it via WhatsApp to you. To contact
I have a comment. I just want to quickly say that, the reason why I'm not emphasizing questions and answers and all that in this segments are that this is really about you doing some work. Because if you ask me all the questions from now till 24 hours, it's not going to translate to your personal vision, your personal goal, your professional goal, your financial. It's not going to translate to your having on paper something that will define your personal vision statement for your business. So that's why I try to make this focus on doing this work, because this is going to be the foundation of our business. Then we can ask questions all we like in future, but do the work and have your answers, your responses, so you can build your business plan as you go along.
Awesome. So to contact Dr. Mokolo for further education or consultancy or whatever it may be, advice, mentorship, the contact information is right on our page. And my paper is full of notes, so I'm going to go back to it. I have youngsters in my home that are venturing into entrepreneurship at a very young age. So for me, I don't know about you, this broadcast is very timely, very important, very well needed. And I say a very, very big thank you to Dr. Princess Mokolo. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So guys, again, next week, Tuesday, we are going to be doing the finale. Should we do some sort of giveaway to somebody that followed us through maybe the 4 sessions? And what do you think?
Well, that sounds like a great idea. It's not even just about following us through. Let's have people send in their notes. And then we'll announce the giveaway next week. If you send us your notes from the last 3 sessions and the questions that we asked, the critical questions, go and watch the broadcast again. Send your responses. Show us that you're building your business plan. Show us that the outcome of this program, which is for you to have things written down about yourself and your professional goals. Let's have a giveaway for those who have done the work. And we may not announce until next week.
Okay, so the notes should come in between now and Tuesday next week.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we'll announce the following week.
Yes, ma'am.
To give them the opportunity to watch the last the 4th session. Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow, Wednesday. We are going to be hearing from a very young Sudanese woman that has a very personal, touchy story, a family story, how she survived a lot of domestic violence and what she's doing right now with her life. Very happy young woman. So join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same time, on the Queen Amina Show, Facebook and YouTube Live. Until then, have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, Dr. Mokolo.
God bless you all. Thank you, Queen Amina.
Awesome.